Good morning, America. Breaking news. O.J. Simpson is a free man. The former football star walking out of a Nevada prison just past the stroke of midnight after serving almost a decade behind bars. The burning question this morning, where will O.J. go? Team coverage of this breaking story. Plus, we'll talk live with attorney Gloria Allred.
Breaking overnight act of terror, the attack during a Canadian football game. A driver displaying an ISIS flag, slamming into a traffic barricade, stabbing an officer, then mowing down pedestrians in a high-speed chase with police.
These incidents are being investigated as acts of terrorism.
What authorities are saying this morning.
Signs of progress. Supplies in Puerto Rico readied for delivery, but it's going to be a long road ahead.
It's not going to be a quick solution.
As the president takes heat for tweets criticizing San Juan's mayor, how she's responding.
And scare in the air. Passengers capturing this shocking sight over the Atlantic Ocean and engines starting to disintegrate.
At that moment, it was terrifying.
The Airbus making an emergency landing in Canada as an investigation gets underway.
Live from ABC News in New York, this is Good Morning America.
And good morning, everybody. Our team thanks you so much for joining us on this Sunday. And as we come on the air, we are tracking a number of breaking stories, including that attack in Canada being investigated as an act of terror. Police say they found an ISIS flag in a car that slammed into a police barricade, hitting an officer. We're going to have much more on that developing story coming up.
We will, but we're going to start here with the release in the dead of the night of O.J. Simpson. There he is, leaving Lovelock Correctional Center in northern Nevada. He is now a free man. O.J. served 9 years for a botched hotel room heist in Las Vegas. He's now 70 years old and looking at many years of parole supervision. But the big question right now is, where will he live? That is the question. Wherever he lives, though, he will almost certainly face a lot of scrutiny as a man who went from a football giant to a movie star and TV pitchman to the defendant in the so-called trial of the century involving the murders of his ex-wife Nicole and her friend Ron Goldman. Attorney Gloria Allred, who represented the family of Nicole Brown Simpson during the murder trial, she's standing by with reaction. But let's get the very latest right now from ABC's Kenneth Moten, who's in Las Vegas for us this morning. Kenneth, good morning to you.
Good morning, Paul and Dan. This after midnight Sunday release was rare for the Nevada Department of Corrections, but this is a rare and unique case. This is the scene of the crime behind me, that Las Vegas hotel where O.J. Simpson committed that robbery to get back his memorabilia. This city is also the place where O.J. Simpson could return as he waits for his parole transfer to Florida.
Go, come on out.
Okay. This morning, O.J. Simpson is a free man. A first look at the infamous former sports and movie star walking out of a Nevada prison near Reno under the cover of darkness.
We thought, let's do this quietly and just try to be under the radar.
Lovelock Correctional Center posted this image of Simpson, all denim, white sneakers, signing paperwork.
We brought him out. He signed a few pages of release paperwork. We give everybody some sort of paperwork on their parole and where they're supposed to check in and all that sort of thing.
Simpson's release after serving 9 years for armed robbery, surrounded by speculation and drama. His mugshot disappeared from the corrections website early Saturday. The prison nor his reps confirming his whereabouts.
I've done my time. I'd just like to get back to my family and friends.
The decision to grant Simpson parole sparked sharp criticism and concern from the family of Ron Goldman.
What's troubling to me is not only him, but the whole system gives second chances to violent felons, or for that matter, anyone in jail.
Now the big question, where will Simpson go? The plan, Florida. But the state's Attorney General Pam Bondi is objecting, writing our state should not become a country club for this convicted criminal. The details of Simpson's post-prison life, a mystery, but not for long.
He's not going to hide, so he'll be around. People will see him. He's going to live his life.
Simpson's Florida plans are up in the air, so he will remain in this state for now. Simpson's lawyer and also the Department of Corrections, they said it was possible that he would be released during the week on a business day, but it was obvious they were trying to avoid any security concerns and that media circus. Dan and Paula.
Kenneth Moten. Kenneth, thank you. Let's bring in civil rights lawyer Gloria Allred, who represented the family of Nicole Brown Simpson during the murder trial. Gloria, thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
First of all, let's get your reaction this morning. Should O.J. Simpson have been released at all, in your view?
No, this is an absolute disgrace. The parole board asked him about conflicts. He said he led a conflict-free life. It's not a conflict-free life when he was convicted in 1989 of spousal battery of Nicole when he left her with a black eye, a swollen face, a cut lip. It's not a conflict life when the jury in the civil case found that punitive damages should be awarded against him, damages to punish him because they found that he was liable, responsible for the deaths of Nicole Brown Simpson and the death of Ronald Goldman, may they rest in peace. And it's not a conflict life when he was convicted of numerous felonies in Nevada, including armed robbery and kidnapping. This is an absolute disgrace. They should have considered those domestic violence convictions and the ultimate violence, the killing of 2 human beings, which shocked the conscience of the community, and that's why punitive damages were awarded.
But Gloria, right now the big question is, where does he go? Because he is a free man. We are expecting him to go to Florida where his kids are, but the Attorney General there says he's not welcome. Can the state of Florida, or any state for that matter, prevent him from living there?
I think it's possible and probable that they can, because he has to apply to live in Florida. He is on parole. You say he's a free man, but he's not a free man in the sense that the rest of us are free. He has to obey all laws. He has to be supervised on parole. And if Florida does not want to accept him, I don't see how they can send him to Florida. Right now, he's going to remain in Nevada unless and until Florida changes their mind.
Gloria, you mentioned the money from the civil trial that O.J. lost. Will the families of Nicole Brown Simpson and Ron Goldman ever see that money? By one estimate, we're talking about $65 million here.
Well, those lawsuits in the civil case that was brought against him that I had just mentioned were on behalf of the estate of Nicole Brown Simpson and the estate of Ronald Goldman. By the way, the beneficiaries of the estate of Nicole Brown Simpson, who were also awarded punitive damages, are the children, Sidney and Justin, his own children. As to the estate of Ron Goldman, of course, there were no children, so his dad, his parents could be the beneficiaries. They could go after him if he has income that is not protected, that is not sheltered. He can live off his $25,000 a month NFL pension. They cannot touch that. If, in fact, however, he earns other income from other sources, then they can go after that, and I have no doubt that Ron Goldman's father will.
All right, Gloria Allred, we want to thank you so much for your perspective this morning.
You.
Thanks for joining us. And we want to turn now to another breaking story this morning, a possible new terror attack in Canada.
A man stabbing a police officer, then ramming into pedestrians with a truck during a high-speed chase. And Ron is here covering that story. Ron, good morning.
Yeah, good morning to you, Dan and Paula. These are actually 2 separate incidents, hours apart. They happened Saturday night, the ramming of the police barricade, and later the vehicle mowing down pedestrians. Police say it was one suspect that did this, and that the motive appears right now to have been terrorism.
It happened near Commonwealth Stadium in Edmonton, where a Canadian League pro football game was being played. Officials say the suspect, driving this white car at a high rate of speed, barreled through a police barricade outside the stadium, striking a police officer. That driver then got out of the car and went on the attack, stabbing a police officer several times. Police on the scene were able to identify the driver from the vehicle's registration.
The male suspect stabbed the officer several times before fleeing the scene on foot.
Several hours later, at a police checkpoint, officers stopped a U-Haul moving truck and noticed the name of the driver on his license was similar to that of the suspect they were looking for.
The U-Haul truck immediately fled the scene and was pursued by police officers towards downtown Edmonton.
Police say the driver of the U-Haul truck then took off, intentionally running down pedestrians along the way. At least 4 people on the street were struck. They are now being treated at a hospital. Officials say the 2 incidents are related and said they also found this flag, what they described as being an ISIS-like flag, displayed on the dashboard of the car that crashed outside the football stadium. They are investigating the incidents as a solo act of terrorism.
And the suspect now in police custody. He has not yet been identified. Canadian law enforcement officials say they had no information about any imminent attack. That officer who was stabbed, he is expected, though, to survive.
One piece of good news. Ron,
Yeah.
thank you. We're going to turn now to the extraordinary war of words between the President of the United States and the female mayor of hurricane-battered San Juan, Puerto Rico.
After the mayor criticized the administration's response to the unfolding disaster on the island, the president tweeted out a tough response, creating an online uproar.
We're going to have a report from the ground in Puerto Rico in just a moment, but we start here with ABC's David Wright, who's in Branchburg, New Jersey, near the president's golf course. David, good morning to you.
Good morning, Dan and Paula. The president's getting ready to head down to Puerto Rico this week, but the fight he picked with one local official after she dared to criticize the administration's response ensures that the trip could be politically fraught. From the comfort of his golf club here in Bedminster, another tweet storm. The president lashed out at San Juan's mayor. Such poor leadership ability by the mayor of San Juan and others in Puerto Rico who are not able to get their workers to help, he tweeted. They want everything to be done for them when it should be a community effort. 10,000 federal workers now on the island doing a fantastic job.
This is a time when everyone shows their true colors. I have no time for distractions.
The mayor spent part of her Saturday wading the streets, using a bullhorn to reach stranded residents.
I hope he gets a chance to really look at people, look at people's faces, see them drinking from a creek.
Trump suggested her criticism of the administration's response is politically motivated, tweeting, "The mayor of San Juan, who was very complimentary a few days ago, has now been told by the Democrats that you must be nasty to Trump." And playwright Lin-Manuel Miranda tweeted, "She has been working 24/7. You have been golfing. You're going straight to hell. Fastest golf cart you ever took."
Right now, we have disasters in 20 different states that we're working. Don't forget about Harvey. Don't forget about Irma and all the work that's been done. You know, get rid of the noise and start focusing on the progress that that has been made.
Late in the day, after a round of phone calls, the president softened his tone, insisting the administration is working together to help the people of Puerto Rico in every way, adding to the people of Puerto Rico, do not believe the fake news. Of course, the reality of the situation is that most of the people in Puerto Rico will not be watching the news because they don't have power. Well, the president is taking a drubbing online for what people are saying is attacking storm victims, including that strongly worded tweet from Lin-Manuel Miranda. Dan and Paula?
Yeah, certainly a lot of criticism directed towards the president this morning. Thank you, David, for your reporting. And help is on the way. More troops are expected to arrive soon in Puerto Rico to help with the monumental relief effort there.
ABC's Alex Perez is right there on the ground in San Juan, where he spoke with the three-star general now in charge of the relief effort. Alex, good morning to you.
Hey, good morning, guys. Getting the entire island back on the power grid and making sure people in rural areas are getting the help they need remain big challenges here. The lieutenant general in charge tells me they are working around the clock. This morning, Lieutenant General Jeffrey Buchanan, in charge of the military response in Puerto Rico, calls the hurricane damage here some of the worst he's ever seen.
It's not going to be a quick solution. It's not going to be easy, and we're going to be after it until they're back on their feet.
4,600 troops on the ground right now. Some 10,000 people remain in shelters. 2/3 of residents still don't have cell service. Lives still in peril as hospitals desperately need fuel.
So it's absolutely critical getting fuel there right now so that the generators can go.
FEMA launching staging areas set up with food, water, and other necessities prepared to deliver 2 million meals. At the ports here, finally, more commercial supplies moving out for distribution, headed to store shelves. At every available gas station, endless lines waiting for what's become a precious commodity. Nadia Rodriguez, who lives in rural Puerto Rico, bounced from station to station for 3 days to finally be able to fill these 2 gas canisters.
So the first day you were waiting in line for 14 hours?
Yes.
And did you get gas?
No.
Now, armed officers guarding and escorting tankers, working to replenish all those stations that have gone dry. And officials tell me they have cleared the major highways and the perimeter of the island, and they're now working on those interior roads. Several hundred more troops are expected here in the next few days. Dan, Paula?
A slow road to recovery, but a road to recovery nonetheless. Alex, thanks for reporting. We want to bring in our chief anchor, George Stephanopoulos, who's going to be hosting this week a little bit later this morning.
Morning.
George, good morning to you. Thanks for joining us. So the president is really dealing with 3 consecutive weather crises. We're talking Harvey, and then Irma, and now Maria. But some are saying that what's going on in Puerto Rico right now is Trump's Katrina. Is that fair?
Well, it's hard to know how that's going to play out, and the president got pretty good reviews for his response to Harvey in Houston and Irma in Florida. Not so here in Puerto Rico. What's similar about this and Katrina is that the president's touting of all the good work and good news coming out of Puerto Rico seems to be at odds with what most people are seeing and feeling on the ground. Now, what is absolutely unprecedented, we've never seen an attack like this from a president on a local official right in the middle of a natural disaster, and as we've seen the backlash on that right there. But how this is going to play out over time is really anyone's guess.
Well, this comes after a turbulent week for him because we've seen the NFL protests against him. We saw his candidate he supported in Alabama lost in that Senate race. The latest attempt to repeal and replace Obamacare went down in flames. And then this scandal over his HHS secretary taking these expensive flights on the taxpayer dime. He was fired.
There's been a lot of competition,
yeah,
but some say this is the worst one.
Yes. But what is this, if you take it all together, what's the state of the Trump presidency in your opinion?
Well, you know, actually his approval ratings had been going up after his response to Harvey and Irma, but now it seems to have he's really hit a wall right here, seems to be lashing out. What he's putting all of his chips on now is this effort now to have tax cuts, tax reform, to get some kind of legislative accomplishment out of this first year, because as you pointed out, with the death of a repeal of Obamacare, they really don't have a major legislative accomplishment. So this is going to be a big challenge for the president and the Republican leaders in Congress. And we're going to be talking to the Treasury Secretary about that today.
And there's another really big headline this morning. For the first time, the Trump administration has established direct communication, lines of communication with North Korea. So what's the way forward there?
Well, it's hard to know exactly what those lines of communications are. Of course, this came from the Secretary of State, Rex Tillerson, who is in China. Whether it can be successful or not depends on what your goal is. Will talks lead North Korea to give up their nuclear program? I don't think so. Could they possibly lead to some kind of freeze in the nuclear program? That's something that has to be tested. At a minimum, I think there's some hope that if these direct talks are indeed taking place, if there is really some kind of back-channel communication, it would lessen the chances of some kind of accidental launch of nuclear weapons or during a crisis, and that's always a good thing.
George, thank you.
Thanks, George.
Always great to see you on a Sunday morning. And a reminder, George is going to have a big show this morning. He'll be speaking with the mayor of San Juan, Puerto Rico, as well as the head of FEMA. He's also going to go one-on-one, as he mentioned, with the Treasury Secretary, Steve Mnuchin, about the Republican tax plan. It's all coming up on this week, right here on ABC.
It'll be a busy morning on this week. Thanks again, George. Let's send things over to Robert Marciano for a look at the weather. Good morning, Rob.
Good morning, guys. Have some pretty cool video we want to show you. Check this out. Double water spouts over Hampton Bay there off Long Island. Had some strong cells roll across the northeast, across Long Island Sound, across Long Island itself, and then popping up there. None of these made landfall, so to speak, but turbulent nonetheless. And heavy rain across New England, especially Massachusetts. Boston seeing 4.5 inches of rain. Lynn, just north of Boston, seeing this, with people having to get around by air mattresses. All right, we're looking at Puerto Rico. This tropical wave thankfully hasn't dropped a whole lot of rain across Puerto Rico today, yesterday. Today, hopefully, we hope the same thing, and heavy rain with this wave across parts of Florida. That's check on the national weather headlines. Time now for your local forecast.
Temperatures starting out on this Sunday in the upper 30s, well west of the D.C. area. We're at 52 in the metro. As we go through the afternoon, temperatures topping out in the low 70s. Less wind today, so it's definitely a comfortable feel for our Sunday. Plenty of bright sunshine if you're trying to get to the Kids Fest in Fairfax County. Overnight tonight, temperatures drop back into the low 40s off to our west. Mostly clear skies, and as we kick off the early half of the week, it's another cool start. Temperatures in the 70s once again Monday.
It's October 1st. We'll talk more about the extended outlook forecast next half hour.
Yes. All right. Thank you, Rob. A lot of headlines this morning. Ron, what's cooking?
Hi again. Good morning to every one of you out there. We're going to begin in Spain, where riot police have been clashing with voters trying to cast their ballots in a referendum on independence being held in the region of Catalonia, which includes the city of Barcelona. And that's where ABC News chief foreign correspondent Terry Moran is with the latest. Good morning, Terry.
Good morning, Ron. At this polling place in central Barcelona, it looks quiet, normal. Now, a couple of hours ago, this was a battleground. Spanish National Police opening fire using rubber bullets against would-be voters. That's happening across Barcelona. People are being bloodied. 38 have been injured, 3 of them seriously in the crackdown, but still, they keep coming. What's happening today is this region of Spain, Catalonia, with its own language and ancient history, a tourist mecca.